And welcome everybody back once again to another TRACKILICIOUS GT3 Pro to Pavement Championship. We are here for round 3 at the Red Bull Ring. I'm Mike Nause. Joined alongside me tonight is none other than the Saagar Bakshi. Saagar, how are you doing on this fine evening?
I'm doing lovely, and I cannot wait for this round 3 of the Pro to Pavement Championship. We've seen a lot of excitement at rounds 1 and rounds 2 between Jaid Hutchinson and Renato Dornelis up at the front, and between Marc-Antoine Landry and Quinn Smith for 3rd and 4th place in the championship. And boy, oh boy, I think the Red Bull Ring is only going to provide us with a little bit more excitement.
Absolutely. It's going to be an absolute corker tonight. The Red Bull Ring is not an easy track to pass on. That is something to definitely keep in mind for these drivers here tonight. So we're going to be seeing a lot of the slipstream trains starting to form on this 2.6 or 4.3 kilometer circuit, with 10 corners, 3 to the left and 7 to the right, meaning a lot of right-hand corners in a 90-minute race. Your left-hand side tires are going to get chewed away. Expect them to start graining fairly early. We'll see what the track conditions do offer as well. And welcome as well to everyone in chat so far. Welcome to Trangisi, welcome to Gargle Some Water. And have I recovered from the Bathurst 12-hour? Honestly, no, I have not, to be 100% real. I mean, I went to the gym like, well, I don't know, an hour ago. I just got back, so we were pushing it when it comes to the stream. That's why we're a little bit late on that. But I'm happy to announce as well that we have a new partnership with AK Esports. So that's something to look forward to here in the future. What does that mean for right now? Honestly, not too much in the change of things. I just noticed a couple graphics, but behind the scenes, things are going to get really cool really quickly, and we'll be here for it. Everything is going to be awesome. So big thank you there to AK Esports for partnering up here with TRACKILICIOUS. We're going to be breaking into that North American platform in more ways than one. We'll just say that way right now. But with that, folks, we do need to hurry up a bit because the qualifying session is going to be coming to an end relatively shortly. We'll get down into the mix very quick here and talk track. And with that here, I think actually, let's just get down to the action right away here and see some of these lovely cars around this lovely circuit.
Absolutely, Mike Nause. Let's head straight to Spielberg, Austria, into the Alps for the 10 corners, 3 to the left, 7 to the right that you mentioned earlier. 313 feet of elevation change total. That's definitely 3 times as much as Paul Ricard. As you could imagine, Paul Ricard's pretty flat, but it has 100 meters, 100 feet of elevation change. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. And looking at the front of the grid right now, Jaid Hutchinson over Thiago Denarte by 0.4 of a second. And then Eduardo Galbinski, Renato Dornelis, though, half a second back from the leaders. And that's not where he wants to find himself going into round 3.
No, especially when you are, of course, the TRACKILICIOUS 12-hour winner. We, of course, just had that yesterday that we were just talking about, and Renato Dornelis and the Vacuum Racing boys were the ones to take it home. In fact, look at that. We got them on screen right now. 2 of the 3 drivers there, Wilson Fernandez as well as Renato, and then Gabriel Felipe also in the mix, but he is not out on track tonight. You can tell because, well, he's not on pole position.
And that trio was sure rapid. And you could see the Vacuum Racing team. They're driving matching liveries as well. So expect to see some camaraderie out of the 2 of them and help each other drive their way forward. Wilson Fernandez headed into Remus now after getting through turn 2. And now through turn 3 we go towards the sausage curb. But you don't want to kiss it too much, otherwise that's what's going to happen. Wilson Fernandez showing us exactly how it's done when you hit the sausage curb and you have to recover your wheel. And all the way down to Schlossgold we go.
So I was expecting a little different play here between these 2. I thought that this was going to be a bit of Renato Dornelis helping Wilson Fernandez out. That's not quite what we're seeing between these 2. I was thinking that they were going to give a long slipstream down to the right-hander, and then once they got close to the braking zone, I expected Renato to kind of pull off to the side and abandon his lap to give Wilson the clean air through the corner, but that's not what we saw. Wilson, he had to suffer from the dirty air. All the McLarens McLaren ahead from Renato, taking all of the air and making it jumbled and mixed up, and when Wilson drove through it, it just doesn't apply the proper amount of downforce, and he saw there the result, the snap of oversteer, and yes, it was a little too much curb taken, but I think there was just a little too much everything there when it comes down to it, and now heading to the line, it was an invalid lap from Wilson Fernandez and an uncharacteristic. He's got another chance though, so we might see. Renato Dornales didn't improve either though, so he's not going to be moving out of the way, and he does have that slipstream. They both get one last attempt.
Amazing that the drivers were able to get to the line with just nearly a second left to go on the clock. Looking at Eric DeBosca-Cassian down in 23rd position, and their best lap time is a 29.292, 130 being their last lap around, and that'll conclude their qualifying run. Kenneth Portis II goes into 8th place with a 128.370. Jace Wright is the next driver to cross the line. 19th turns into 13th place for them. Andre Alex Alfonso, 19th place for them, is going to turn into just remaining right where they were, staying in 19th place overall.
Anthony Kelly will be next to the line, just coming through the final corner and on to the start-finish straight through the Red Bull Mobile. And it's going to be P20. This is another team that we saw had good success in the race. Or no, excuse me, the number 7 car actually did not. The number 7 car had a bit of bad luck yesterday. It was the other Fear Nothing Moto, the Mustang, that had some good luck in the race and ended up finishing close to the podium. Yes, close to the podium, I think. I need to double check on the standings on that one. I'm going off memory here, which I'm surprised I can even remember anything from yesterday. And as we come to the line here, we did miss it, but Renato Dornales did not improve. He stays 3rd fastest for the number 3, and Wilson Fernandez, an uncharacteristic P17.
Super interesting how this is going to pan out. Sunny skies for now, but will it stay the same for the 80 minutes that we have on track? It's looking like it might rain over the next 30 minutes or so. So that'll throw a wrench into all the drivers' plans, because like Mike Nause likes to say, no plan survives first contact. And the contact might not be with another driver, but with the rain coming in. I think a couple of people were expecting this weather mix-up to take place, but not so sure everybody's going to be as prepared as they thought that they were.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how the drivers do fare when it comes down to it. Once we get out on track right now, this is where the nerves are going to be at their highest, all things considered. Everyone really getting down to the mix here, the championship. I know you mentioned that briefly, Saagar, but I think we should maybe talk a little bit more about that. Although, we'll talk about that on the outlap here. Let's get in and let's meet our drivers. Starting us off here at the top, it's Jade, right? I just want to, before we get into it. Yaid? It is Yaid. Okay. I wasn't sure. It was a 50-50. Yaid, the Canadians, what threw me off. Either way, let's get into it here. Yaid Hutchinson takes pole position for the Vissel Esports Nissan GTR. Never thought I'd say that. Thiago Dinarte, another driver that we saw very successful yesterday in the 12 hours of Bathurst, finishing in second, or qualifying in second, with Renato Dornales, the number 3, in third, with Eduardo Gobinski alongside here for fourth. Quinn Smith bringing up 5th position with Michael Formato in 6th. Jakob Sofko in P7 with Marc-Antoine Landry coming up in 8th in the Audi. I think the lone Audi in the field here tonight. Kenneth Portis II in the Honda NSX coming up in 9th position with Chandler Williams rounding out your top 10.
Then we have Timothy Jedubal from FNM in 11th. Jonathan Clifford, not Clifford the big red dog, but Jonathan Clifford in the number 99 in 12th. Jace Wright, Big Jace, Fuchsia Competition Esports team in 13th spot. And we have Gil Silverland driving the Gil Silverland car, and he's going to be in 14th position. Harold McDonald from FNM in the 182 in 15th spot. Alex Hansen, the 390 in 16 for Mr. Doodle. Wilson Fernandez, the Vacuum Esports team, is the 888 in 17th spot. Vedek Ostitsiev is going to be the number 63 in 18th. Matt Artem going to be in the 414 Audi in 19th spot. Andre Alex Alfonso is going to be in the 666 in 20th position.
Bringing up 21st here, Anthony Kelly in the Fear Nothing Moto McLaren, with Alex Freeman alongside in P22, Eric the Boss Kakasian 23rd, with Andre Lloyd in 24th, Professor Chronotis 25th, Justin Eiston in Lustin, my apologies, Lustin Eiston in P26, with Drew Burkowski bringing up the back. Last but not least, expect him to carve his way through the field pretty early here. He's quite a quick driver, but not setting a qualifying time. The field underway now for the out lap. It's a full 2.6 mile or 4.3 kilometer lap. To begin, these drivers get a little bit of heat in their tires, that crucial core temperature that we often talk about. Make sure everyone is up to speed, and when you go down to the braking zone of the first corner and really the second corner, Saagar, you have everything ready to get the car stopped in time.
Absolutely true. With 35 degrees track temperature and 28 degrees Celsius for the ambient, we're sure to have the drivers want to heat up their tires fairly well, but not overheat them as we approach the end of the out lap, because the brake temperature and overheating the tires will result in uneven wear of those tires and that rubber underneath them, and also degrading the rubber that the drivers will be using, although they really only need to worry about that for the first half an hour of this race, because then they'll probably end up switching over to wets. But if this is anything like the Bathurst race that we had, well, when the rain dissipates, you might just want to be on the dry tires themselves.
Yeah, rain expected in 30 minutes. We haven't mentioned that just yet, but we'll see how that affects it. Is it going to be a long bout of rain, or is it just going to be a small little spurt? So everyone will have to make that decision when the time comes. Do we switch over to those hards, or excuse me, do we switch over to the wets, or do we stay on the Pirelli P0 compound? Very similar decisions, again, to what we saw yesterday after the race restart. A lot of drivers deciding on wets at certain times, having to go back and change the hards again. Been getting too excited for the upcoming Formula 1 season is what it sounds like. But no, these drivers, a lot to think about on a track that is not going to be too nice when it comes to, well, anything.
True. Very, very, very true. Only a couple of corners here that really involve a high braking zone. So the drivers are going to be mostly flat out through this high-speed Red Bull Ring circuit, and it's going to be fast and furious. And we're approaching the final corner, or the penultimate corner now. And Mike, let us get ready to rumble. How's that sound?
Let's get ready to rumble, says Saagar Bakshi. Thiago Dinarte on pole position with Yair Hutchinson. I think it's the other way around, but the ACC timing towers are maybe lying to us here. Yair Hutchinson on pole position with Thiago Dinarte alongside. 1 hour and 20 minutes on the clock as we approach the line here. It's going to be a long drag race down to the first braking zone into Niki Lauda curve.
Green light.
Green, green, green. The Nissan GTR gets away extremely well, and having to slot back behind is Thiago Dinarte. Renato Donales trying to go for the outside line. He'll be able to carry the speed, but the Aston Martin of Eduardo runs him outside. Quinn Smith also trying to make moves here behind. He's stuck in the middle right now with, who is that? Casey Schutte? I can't quite tell. Is that, I don't know who that is ahead of him, to be completely honest. They haven't updated on my timing charts. Round to the outside, though, that's going to be the 999 car, who is Quinn Smith. My apologies, just looking at the wrong one. Michael Formato is the car that I'm getting confused with here, and he is getting swamped.
A little bit of three-way squabble between Stofko, Landry, and Formato coming in through turn one, forced all three drivers off. But now we're seeing a little side-by-side between the 711 and the 34 of Stofko out in front now. Actually, no, that'll be Michael Formato who's out in front, and Antoine Landry looking for any which way to go as Stofko makes his way forward, driving the MA70 Esports car.
Yeah, Marc-Antoine Landry got a hip check there through Schlossgold, and when he went through, it reminded me a bit of spells of Max Verstappen and Alex Albon. Just obviously a couple different cars that are completely different series now. Marc-Antoine Landry, though, bottlenecked. You can clearly see he has the pace, but he's just not able to unleash it, with Jakob Stafko currently being a bit of a thorn in the side. But Michael Formato is, I guess, really the one to keep an eye on here. In the Neon Boat, the Fear Nothing Moto driver covers the inside line for the first corner, but you see a send in the background there. Marc-Antoine Landry clobbers the curb and clobbers the face of Jakob Stafko. This is a terrible location to be in. Everyone making it through so far, but as we say that, Alex Freeman makes contact, a Lamborghini makes contact, Kenneth Portis II runs wide. It's chaos, carnage, and calamity, and it was lap 2 that we found it.
Little too eager Beaver there coming in towards turn 1. This is an 80-minute race that we're dealing with, not a 20-minute sprint race, and the driver is getting a little bit opportunistic coming in through turn 1, resulted in that collision. The door possibly getting closed on him. We'll leave that one up to the stewards to decide how they deceive that information or decipher that cryptic information. A little bit of a battle now between Renato Dornelis and Quinn Smith, it looks like, out in front of this battle. No, that's not. I apologize. Who is in that Lamborghini? That'll be Jace Wright and Alex Hansen? Jonathan Clifford, excuse me. I apologize. And it looks like that Ferrari is looking like it wants to make a move. The number 99 looking to the inside line of the Lamborghini. Files back in single file, but the FNM car is under threat from the other Fuchsia competition car from behind. And it looks like that move got done and dusted in the background as Jace Wright tries to hold on right now.
Really giving him quite a hard time is Jonathan Clifford. You mentioned he's the big red dog. You can definitely hear him barking, but is his bite as strong? Right now, the big red Ferrari not quite having any luck. Well, it's not a Ferrari. Every Ferrari is red in my mind. Jonathan Clifford in the slipstream, the inside line covered off heavily by Jace Wright. Are we going to see a dive down to the inside here? No, not quite. Jonathan Clifford here, you can see just being a bit more passive than honestly I would have expected. The inside was open, you know, you could always go for it. The outside line can be a favorable one for the overtake if you are confident, but you can always get run wide. Now through Slosgold, you're not going to find too much ground. You're just going to have to settle in on the run through Rauch and Worth all the way up to the Jochen Rindt corner.
All the way through now, and Rauch or Roush?
Could be Roush. It's a good point.
Didn't we look this up once upon a time?
I do not think so. I have not looked this. Maybe you have. I have not.
Roush is actually
it's a brand.
Farming. It's like a farming brand.
No, you're right.
Or something like that.
I've been saying it wrong this whole time, I think. I'm not arguing with you. I think you're 100% right on this one. Chat, let us know. Is it Roush? Because if it is, then boy, I have looked pretty dumb for a long time.
No. I'm probably wrong. But anyways, coming through the Red Bull Mobile corner now, it looks like Vedek Ostetsiev is posturing himself to be inside of T1, then backs out of Harold McDonald's wing mirror. And there's another car spun off. That'll be Alex Hansen driving the Mr. Doodle BMW, and he has tumbled down quite a few positions. I was talking to him yesterday watching the Daytona 24, and he said that he was prepared for the Red Bull Ring. And the moisture hasn't hit the track yet, but it has found banana peels for Alex Hansen.
Not prepared enough is what it seems like, unfortunately. I mean, all the preparation you can do, and you still make one little mistake. That is the issue with these GT3 cars in general. They're so on the limit at all times. You're always trying to fight to keep these cars under control. In fact, why don't we go on board here with Vedek just to give you an example. The Lamborghini is a bucking Bronco by no stretch of the imagination. It is basically the equivalent of bull riding, as the namesake is. Look at that, wrestling the octopus there, trying to keep the car on circuit. Vedek almost snaps off there briefly. I hope he's not listening to the stream, and we're currently in the process of cursing him, but he certainly seems to be overdriving this car a little bit, and that's allowed the likes of Timothy Jedubal into the mix here. Are we going to see Harold McDonald potentially hold Vedek up and allow allow Timothy an opportunity? A bit of teamwork could be in the play right now.
Oh, and a little bit of an off-track excursion rejoins the racing line in front of Timothy Jadubal from FNM. Now FNM's Timothy Jadubal is going to posture himself on the outside line and pinch Vidic on the inside. And the number 63 holds onto the racing line, but that F&M car went off and wide. Now he's going to be under threat from Matt Artem and Wilson Fernandez with a 10-second penalty behind. It looks like Wilson Fernandez able to get the move down on Matt Artem coming in towards turn 3 side by side with Vidic and the F&M of Harold McDonald out in front. And now the move is going to be signed, sealed, and delivered as we approach turn 4 now.
Or is it? I'm not so sure it is. Okay, he does have a good enough drive here, but he's leaving that inside open, which is going to allow Harold McDonald back alongside. And this is where Harold here can use the track to his advantage. Slowly squeeze Vidic out. He doesn't, though, and Vidic gives him the bumper instead. That's what's required, though, in order to defend a position. What's required to hold yourself off. But there we go. The switch back again. McDonald trying to take it back once more now, but Vidic keeps his foot fully in it. This is allowing squabbling from behind now. Wilson Fernandez, who is very out of position, fully alongside Timothy Jadubal. Down into the final corner complex now. It's going to be every single position as it was, but currently we are watching more than a boiling pot here. I think we're watching a firework with a fuse lit.
I think this is definitely a steam engine that has gone to full capacity now, because the drivers are leaving nothing left on the table and they are full on bores out racing right now. Nothing left to be said. Checking in with the leaders, Jaid Hutchinson right now with a 4.5 second gap over Thiago Dinarte in second place. Then Eduardo Galbinski 2.2 back. Renato Dornelis is 0.6 away. And then we have this epic 6-way battle that's brewing between P11 and P17 right now.
We just saw a switch here, actually. So Timothy Jadubal is now the lead Fear Nothing Moto car. I think this was a team orders call, side by side in the background from Eric and another Fear Nothing. Man, the Fear Nothing cars are certainly fearless tonight out on track. Eric here kind of getting battered around every which way right now. Lost 2 positions for one, potentially 3 positions there. Defending it back, though, from Alex Hansen, who's on a recovery drive himself. The BMW will have the unfavorable line. Eric should be able to defend this one going into the braking zone here. Just, again, walk your opponent wide there. Use those curbs to your advantage. Eric leaving enough space for an entire football team to go into. Is going to allow Alex Hansen to capitalize on the inside line for the final corner. Eric out onto the marbles. Traction not there. Alex Hansen looks like he's going to defend the position.
Alex Hansen pulls on a great defensive move coming through the Red Bull Mobile. And Mr. Doodle is doodling his way back into a bit of a recovery drive. Alex Hansen in 18th position right now. Started off, where did he start out? In 16th place, so just down 2 positions. But Mr. Jacob Stofko, he's down 10 positions off the charge. Vedek Ostitsiev is already up 8 positions, driving for the Fuchsia competition team.
Eric got by Alex Hansen, everybody. I don't know how, but he has on a straight, it looks like. Okay, well, that's changed back. Eric finally gets the position that he deserved. He definitely had it on the previous lap. He was being very passive, which I understand. As a league owner, you definitely want to have a bit more discretion than aggression, so I got to respect Eric for that one and handing that position over. He clearly has the faster car, and he's using it now. Not Justin. Lustin, my apologies. Every time I look over, I think it's cut off. It's not. It's Lustin. Eiston? Oh, goodness. Saagar?
Or
help.
Or it could be an
Eiston?
I.
Yeah, I just realized that as well. I now that you've, yeah. Eiston. I think, chat?
I think it's Lustin Eiston.
We can go to SimGrid. I'll go, I tell you what.
But of course, that's probably a made-up name anyways.
Either way, it's still, I'd like to figure out what the letter is. We're checking.
Jacob Stofko for the MA70 Esports, looking to the inside line here, trying to go backwards and forwards on the Fear Nothing Moto car. But thank you very much, Ricardo Prados, for the Prime subscription. Really appreciate you, and welcome to the TRACKILICIOUS family. Hopefully you're enjoying the Pro to Pavement Championship Series that we've got. We've got 25 drivers taking to this championship and trying to find their way into a real-life track-prepped car and $500 in travel expenses to get to the racing circuit.
Yeah, super awesome opportunity to allow somebody to get a real shot in a real car, and it is truly going to be awesome when we get to see that. This championship currently, I was going to talk about the standings on the outlap, wasn't I? We never got a chance to do that. We'll talk about that in a little bit right now because we have current ice dicing up on track with some of our drivers. Stofko looking to make moves onto Anthony Kelly here in the Fear Nothing Moto car. One thing also to pay mind here is everyone has one mandatory pit stop, and with that rain on the radar, that might force everyone's hand pretty early. We'll check on it right now. Oops, whoops. It's still about 10 minutes away, so the rain right around the corner.
And that just switched over in this 80-minute race, so the rain coming in and then heavier rain to come in at that 30-minute mark will be awfully telling to see what the driver's plans end up being. And it looks like the 937 of Andre Lloyd is in the back of the pack right now. And then the number 400 of Gil Silverland has taken a mandatory pit stop already. But I assume that was just due to the damages from that turn 1 incident that we saw on lap 2.
Yeah, it definitely could be there. Also an update on, it is an I, which makes our life a lot harder. Kenneth Portis here gets by Eric Gurkowski, and Jakub Stofko still fending away. Timothy Jodibal and Vadiko Stitsiev are our two highest battles on track. Renato Dornales and Eduardo Galbinski also potential fight on the cards, but I don't think Renato has any intent right now on actually making an overtake happen. I think he's waiting for the wet conditions, or just waiting for a little bit longer in the race to develop before he goes and starts trying to batter everyone around and make those aggressive moves. He knows how to drive a race, somebody who understands the concept of management, no doubt. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. But on the other hand, of course, that management is allowing the likes of Thiago Denarte as well as Jaid Hutchinson to pretty much walk away into the Red Bull or the Austrian sunset and not worry too much about anything.
Yeah, Jaid Hutchinson has really done a great job of pulling out this 6.2 second lead, but of course, without Renato Dornelles there to keep him honest, he has been able to drive away with a clear gap. I'm just surprised with Renato Dornelles' pace this time around. Obviously, the 12 hours of Bathurst is taking a lot of concentration out of him, so Jaid Hutchinson able to walk away with this race. And things might shake up once it comes down to rainy conditions. We have not seen Hutchinson perform in the rain before, so maybe the damp or the loose traction type conditions that we'll face in the near future may not be his cup of tea, perhaps.
May not be, as of course we are American or Canadian in certain cases. So any tea that we get, we throw that into a harbor. That's where it belongs, folks. And Jakub Stofko almost throws himself into the gravel trap as we say that. Anthony Kelly, currently still 16th position, but he has made ground. 5 positions so far. Pretty much everyone in the top 16 has made up positions, minus Renato Dornales, who's down 1. All of the, we'll just say it as this, the biggest losers, unfortunately, are down a bit further. 10 positions down for Gil Silver and 10 positions down for Jakub Stofko. 11 for Kenneth Portis II. So a long ways to go for these drivers as the 1 hour mark strikes. At least that's one thing they have on their hand is time. Time is going to be their friend.
That is for sure, but there was an epic battle brewing right in front of our very own eyes. Looks like Matt Ardem getting chased by Andre Alex Alfonso, Wilson Fernandez out in front, and Harold McDonald leading this 5-way battle that's brewing. The 888 posturing itself pretty well right now behind the FNM 182 and looking for a slipstream now as we come down the straightaway between turn 1 and turn 3. And now side-by-side action will result in Wilson Fernandez getting a nice, good run towards turn 4. And now Matt Ardem throws his name in the ring, looks to the inside line, and we're going to go 3 wide on our way towards turn 4. It's going to be side-by-side for the F&M boys and Matt Ardem for the America United Racing Team. And Matt Ardem's going to have to back out of this one and let the 2 boys out in front resume their charge. But now it looks like the F&M of Harold McDonald bushes out Wilson Fernandez a little bit to the outside line, and now Wilson Fernandez files in single file, and Matt Artem ends up losing another position to Andre Alex Alfonso for the Intercontinental Racing Team 666.
I'm wondering if Wilson Fernandez handed that position back, to be completely honest. It didn't... I don't think he did, but now he's going for it, regardless of if he handed it back or not, because he did make an off-the-track pass, so I think that was the right decision to go for, but making an aggressive stab like that has resulted in 2 McLarens off circuit, and no good otherwise. Andre Alex Alfonso says, thank you very much, that's the easiest position I've ever granted myself. So does Matt, our team here, he's, well, actually, no, excuse me, maybe in a bit of a worst case situation here. Anthony Kelly alongside Stofko, but he backs out, does not want to find himself having a nice sausage for lunch.
And Stofko making his way up the field now on his recovery drive after losing out quite a few positions on lap 1. And now the number 34 MA70 Esports car is stuck right behind Matt Artem, and Matt Artem is the one in front of Stofko for now. And that gap is just 0.3 of a second. It looks like Stofko wants to make this move done and dusted sooner rather than later as we approach turn 4. But will the number 34 leap for it? I don't think so, not on this attempt alone, not without any additional overlap that he could possibly find. He does not want to get Lando Norris.
Yeah, and it's surprising that Jakob Stofko isn't going for more aggressive moves, to be honest. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but he is down 9 positions, but he's not driving with a chip on his shoulder whatsoever. He seems to be very calm, cool, and collected. His car body language looks very, very calculated, everything he's doing here. Let's go on board with him just to confirm our theories here, but it looks like for the most part, this Cavallina Rampanti is treating him quite nicely, minus the obvious 9 position loss. So beyond that, it's been quite a handful. This car against the Audi's extremely quick out of corners, but once it gets up to the top speed, it doesn't have a top gear. Well, the top gear is essentially 5th gear for these cars normally. It almost feels like it. It does have a 6th gear, but it just tops out and bangs off the rev limiter. This should be move on for Jakob Stofko. The inside line covered. He's going to have to commit to the out unless we see there Matt, our team, hand the inside line over. This is going to be a great opportunity. Stofko gets it stuck alongside. Back onto the accelerator. This is perfect. As planned right now, you knew you were still going to be side by side. Make it work into Schlossgold. The Audi, though, really showing its acceleration. Now, down into the braking zone of turn 3. This is where you have to be aggressive, but Stofko really just being a bit discouraged. I mean, definitely just looks like, I don't want to say a deer in the headlights, but he seems like he's lost a little bit of that fire in him.
A little bit of that fire, or is he just being cautious? Jacob Stofko is no slouch when it comes down to sim racing. He usually races up towards the front of the field in a league called DRL, and that's where I know Jacob Stofko from, driving the MA70 Esports car. And it looks like the rain has started to fall on top of the drivers, and Matt Artem checks up on the brakes, and it looks like just a little bit of an undulation coming through the penultimate corner. And now into the final corner, Jacob Stofko is looking for the run up the inside line as we get to the line, and he's chasing down Matt Artem fairly well, looking left, looking right, returns to the racing line, letting Matt Artem cover off the racing circuit. And now Jacob Stofko is going to have the run going in towards turns 2 and turn 3. And obviously you can see it on your screens, folks. The rain has come down quite a bit heavily, and now the track is going to have to go damp in just a few moments' time. There goes a move up the inside line, and Matt Artem just wiggles his way out of position there for a second, now covering off the charge from Anthony Kelly behind, and Anthony Kelly has to let up on the accelerator, and Stofko carries on forward into 15th place.
Well, took a couple laps to do it, but he finally made it work. He tried on the previous lap, got alongside, and it didn't work, so he learned. And this time the weather playing a bit of a role as well and helping him out wonderfully is what it seems like. Somehow getting it stopped in time on the inside. It's risky in these conditions, but the track is not saturated yet, so you're still kind of have that grip where you're able to take the aggression. You can see in the next 10 minutes it's predicted to keep raining, or for the increase to rain to fall, but then it will stabilize a bit with a bit of a mid-rain. So it's going to continue here for a while. Drivers might want to consider coming into pit lane soon for wets, but probably not within the next, probably not this lap. Maybe the next one, though, as the track starts to actually get some standing water. The P0s become awfully slippery, and Andre Alex Alfonso needs to be on his best behavior here. Be so careful onto the brake. Like, you almost have an egg underneath your pedal, and thankfully, Andre there, he just backs out. It's not worth it. The track is getting too slick to make moves for these drivers, and they know it. You don't want to go careening into the side panel of your opponent. That's never the way to gain ground, or you might find yourself with one of those 10-second penalties in the next race. This, though, this is what you want to see, the karting line. Andre Alex Alfonso going wide here. This, believe it or not, is the way to drive in these wet conditions. With these high downforce cars or the low center of gravity cars in the case of karts, you want to take those wide lines. The inside becomes so dangerous. The out, that's where the speed is. But Andre, there's no speed when you have a McLaren stuck in front of you that's slower than you.
Just a quick update, Drew Burkowski, Bindit coming in through turn 1, lit up the rear end, spun himself around, nearly went into pit lane backwards, separated himself from the Lustin, Eiston, and Eric Akasian battle that he was in, and Kenneth Portis II in 19th place right now is just 0.3 away from Alex Hansen in 18th position.
Continuing the fight on for these guys. We'll take a look a bit further up. Jonathan Clifford and Jace Wright, they are currently going at it down the start-finish straight right now, but Clifford, not close enough, and he knows it. So far, I haven't seen these two really dicing it up for the most part. I think they've been just kind of calm and working together when it comes to their pace, almost dead even, a little bit quicker on the previous lap. No, I mean, not really. They're basically dead even, all things considered. Their lap times were more or less identical. These three, though, still a kettle that is yet to boil over, in my opinion. Jakob Stofko in the background here. We know he's quick. We know Andre Alex Alfonso, though, is also quick. This time, going to the outside for turn 2. He's fully ahead at the braking zone. The Fear Nothing Moto car, though, needs to be careful. That's a bit deep for Andre. He got onto the curbs here. The exit, not favorable for him. Schlossgold will be the next chance. Is he too far back? He's going to drive alongside, but we know what can happen to you if you are on that wide line, and discretion being the better part of valor, not the same situation for Jakob Stofko. He's dived to the inside of Wilson and made that one stick.
Amazing move from Jakob Stofko and the MA70 esports team, being extremely patient to work his way back into this race, and slowly but surely, and the track has gone greasy finally with the increasing rain coming in within the next 10 minutes or so. So we're at 56 minutes on the clock. Keep an eye out when we get to that 50-minute mark to see where the rain is falling and how much we have of standing water on the racing circuit. Here's the front wing of Andre Alex Alfonso in that 666 as he still chases down Harold McDonald out in front, and Harold McDonald is putting on a good defensive maneuver for his teammate Timothy Jadubal, who has broken away by quite some time right now. 6.3 is the gap that the F&M boys have developed between themselves.
Yeah, and that was, of course, due to that switch earlier on they made, so the team order's clearly working out in the favor for the Fear Nothing Moto team here in the long run. However, Timothy Jadubal still 3.6 seconds to Vediko Stitsiev, so you obviously need to make a little more ground up before that becomes a truly worthwhile strategy, but with the pit stops coming into place soon, I'm sure it will end up paying dividends. Look at this bottleneck behind it. Looks so calm and collected, by the way, ahead of these two drivers, but behind it, it's a knife fight in a phone booth, and that's a bit of an understatement, to be completely honest. This is going to be Wilson Fernandez's opportunity, but Jakob Stofko has a late defense to the inside. Very intelligent driving, but dangerous. Andre Alex Alfonso catches the curb and saves the car, wrestles the octopus, and with the weight of the world on his shoulders, he somehow keeps it. Hip check from Jakob Stofko. That's going to force him out wide and allow Wilson Fernandez back alongside. Every single corner here for Andre is going wrong. It seems like the castle is crumbling around him.
Oh, and finding the kitty litter, rejoining the track right next to Matt Artem, and then losing out to another F&M car. This one's going to be Anthony Kelly with a little bit of a pass on the grass, or will it be completed on the grass? And finally, that move is done and dusted. Andre Alex Alfonso can race forward, but now he's got none other than Kenneth Portis II to charge him down and that's going to be the number 84 Honda NSX, who's looking like it wants to make a move behind Andre Alex Alfonso now.
Andre wants to forget that last lap. He wants to pretend like it didn't happen. Unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. He has lost 3 positions in 1 lap. That was absolutely brutal, and it's looking like a 4th here, to be honest. Kenneth Portis II, a driver severely out of position himself. There's still damage, though, on that Acura Honda. So we'll see if he actually does have the pace to make it work in these kind of interchanging conditions. Once we go, though, over to either wet tires or the rain at this point diminishes, which is not looking likely. The track's still greasy, so not optimum. It's just one of those, to be honest, Saagar, these are the conditions that I hated driving in the most. I love wet weather driving, I love dry weather driving, but these intermediate conditions, every single corner is almost different when you're out there as the track saturates, dries up, saturates, dries up, and finding that line of grip can be really difficult. Oh, speaking of, there's Anthony Kelly not finding any grip.
This was actually one of my favorite conditions to drive in, and somehow I'd always find myself being the fastest driver on track, just living in the slide of the car and riding around on moon balloons to carry myself forward. I didn't care about my tires because I knew I was going to change them anyways, sooner rather than later. So it looks like Andre Alex Alfonso's into the pits now, and the track is still greasy. This will be interesting for Andre Alex Alfonso. We'll have to keep an eye on what tire choice he decides to go with. At the 52.5-minute mark, he decides to come in and pit out from the battle that he's under.
Very interesting, as you say there. Is this too early? Is he expecting the track to go wet on this lap? Maybe that's what it is, a gamble here. But if he doesn't gamble right, his tires, as you mentioned, are going to turn into moon balloons very, very quickly and send him pretty much out into the moon gravel that is off of this circuit of the Red Bull Ring. This is a real ding-dong fight right now with Jakob Stofko on the back of Harold McDonald. Wilson Fernandez not knowing what to do with the fighting ahead. He just kind of sits back right now and has the best seat in the house, and quite frankly, I don't blame him for wanting to sit back and enjoy, but the longer he does, he's going to have Matt, our team, knocking on his door, and it's only a matter of time before they barge it in.
Lap time's definitely going the way of Matt Artem right now in that 4:14, 132.9 to a 133.1 of Wilson Fernandez out in front, but Jacob Stofko's besting Harold McDonald his times, a 133 comparison, 4.80 for McDonald compared to Stofko's 3.62. So a little bit of an inverse of positions will take place over the next couple laps or so. But here's Eduardo Galbinski chasing down Thiago Dinarte for second place in the lead right now. And it looks like Galbinski backs out of this one, goes for a nice switchback, and then just bumps Thiago Dinarte in the derriere and sends him round. And that's not the way we want to see this battle come to fruition.
No, we're going to take another look at that one. Sorry, Eduardo. We're going to watch this from another angle. So this is Thiago here, having not the greatest exit, but just because you didn't get the power down in time doesn't necessarily warrant the car behind you to plow you off the road. Yeah, Eduardo didn't mean to do that. It wasn't a malicious hit, but once he did it, you could see how bad he felt. He lifted off the throttle and debated letting Thiago back by, but once he saw that Thiago was firmly facing the barrier and had a bit of issues there, he was like, you know what? I'll just have to keep going. And that delay has allowed Renato Donales now into conversation and into almost, I thought they were going into pit lane, but that's just, of course, the racing line here on the RBR.
And yes, Renato Dornelles, Thiago Dinarte actually rejoins the pack in 4th place, only about 3.7 behind Renato Dornelles right now, and 0.8 is the gap separating Dornelles from Galbinski out in front. The number 233 leads over the 3, over the 23. If there's not enough 2s or 3s in that conversation, I don't know what else to do to appease you. Last lap around being a 33.3 for Dornelles, and Galbinski with a 35.4. So, and that's including the accident, obviously. So slowing down by around 2 seconds that previous lap than his normal for Galbinski.
One thing, though, that chat has pointed out is on the previous lap, sure, there was that minor contact. Most drivers currently in the 33s or the 32.9s, but Jade Hutchinson is currently lapping in the 132.2s. I don't think he's got the memo yet that the track is wet. He is, oh goodness, what? Somebody got the memo. Andre Lloyd in the Lamborghini. It's clearly a little too exuberant on the loud pedal and then headed off into the kitty litter for him, and that is just Lamborghini moments. Jade Hutchinson doesn't really care. The Nissan GTR is a boat. It's got a lot of weight behind it, so I'd imagine it's quite good in these conditions just on its own, but Jade clearly has practiced for this weather.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time in a simulator to get used to driving under these mixed conditions, because normally you'll either get into a server and it's dry, or you'll get into a server and it's wet. It takes a true champion to find out that the track has gone greasy and then decide to still keep on riding it out to see what the optimum strategy will be on. And I'm going to check in with Andre Alex Alfonso and see what his pit stop time ended up being, a 33.2 second stationary. And it looks like he is driving on wet weather tires right now, and the track has officially gone damp.
It's gone damp, but we're going down to the inside here, and let's hope these two bulls don't lock horns like team orders. Love to see it. Jace Wright allows Vidic along by and says, "You go, boy," and off Vidic will charge, hoping to catch up with Jonathan Clifford. He's a bit up the road, 8.2 seconds. Long hope for them, but the Fuchsia team, not much else they can really do. The wet conditions haven't made too many drivers come into pit lane yet, and that's a spinner from Wilson Fernandez. Was this unforced, or was there a light little tap to the rear? I think this was completely on his own. We'll get a better camera angle, though, and take a look, so keep in mind this is Kenneth Portis II behind in that Acura. He's about a country mile behind, so I don't suspect there was any wrongdoings here. Yep. Just Wilson walking outside there, and you can see how dangerous that painted tarmac is.
Super unfortunate for Wilson Fernandez, one of the champions of the 12 hours of Bathurst, and unfortunately just not getting it right there across that painted section of asphalt or bitumen or pavement, wherever you are in the world. We call it whatever you please. Here goes Alex Hansen now chasing down Wilson Fernandez, 4/10 off the good. And then Andre Alex Alfonso, 45 seconds away from this battle that's raging on right now. Renato Dornella still 8/10 away from Eduardo Galbinski out in front, 33.6 to 33.6. So the times are staying pretty much exactly where they were. The gap is pretty much not going anywhere this time around.
I don't know if you caught that here, but I think every single driver has missed the first corner on this lap. There might be an oil slick down, even though ACC doesn't model those. No, it's just showing how wet those conditions are at this point, and the slick tires, the Pirelli P0s, are not gripping the surface optimally. With that, Renato Donales has gained the back of Eduardo Galbinski. This is for P2. And this is overall positions as well. So needing to pit still are all of these drivers. Let's take a little peek, though. Ooh, what's happened to Wilson Fernandez again? No, he's into pit lane. Okay, smart. Who has gone onto wet tires already? Gil Silverin has gone onto wet tires. So has Andre Lloyd. Andre Lloyd was 135.9 on the previous lap. This doesn't tell us that much yet. Once we start seeing some more wet weather runners strap on those tires, though, and go out on circuit, we'll get an idea of what the true pace is. Also, Race Center 360, welcome to the team. Thank you for the follow.
And SimRace Life asks, did Dinarte go into the pit lane? No, he has not. He's lapping at around 133.5 still in fourth place right now, the number 23.
Yeah, that wheel is straight, but he definitely will be suffering, of course, taking that big hit to the barrier. Most of the downforce, I think, comes from the under tray and the diffuser on this car. So the front end, I guess, clearly doesn't matter that much, despite the fact that he went into a barrier at about 20 miles an hour. It wasn't the heaviest hit, Tiago, or he's just built different. One of the two. I'm not sure if it knocks something into place. He's definitely not quicker, I'll tell you that. Hasn't helped his lap time, so, but it hasn't hurt it astronomically either. So he's managing the damage quite well. Quinn Smith, though, looking to take advantage here of the situation and potentially find himself up a position as well. A little comment here in chat, Borya Burakovsky. You know, I understand, Borya, and I had that mindset myself for a while when I was driving. You get into this kind of negative mindset of every race you do, you feel that something either goes wrong and it was either your fault, or maybe it wasn't your fault. A lot of the times, though, you place the blame on yourself. You gotta remember, we're out here to have fun. You know, that's one of the biggest things, and I had to tell myself this as well. Sometimes you just gotta back off, take a couple days off the sim rig, and then get back behind the wheel to refocus that mind and just get yourself back into the kind of rhythm of it. Because one thing about sim racing people don't often talk about is it can be quite a negative mindset development. If you are constantly having issues, you're constantly dial it back a couple percent, go back to your grassroots, drive the tracks that you enjoy as well, and you'll find a little bit more enjoyment behind the wheel, and then you'll want to finish those races more because, like I say, I know what you mean, and we all want everyone to finish the race because it doesn't matter what position you finish in, it's always a victory as long as you've learned something by the end. So just hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Back to the race. That's your PSA of the day from Mike Nause. This is going to be Quinn Smith diving down to the inside of Thiago Dinarte, and Thiago, well, can't really fight that too much.
No, Thiago Dinarte sure can, and he even has a blinker on to boot to let Quinn Smith know where to make that overtaking move happen. As Thiago probably thinking about coming into the pits as the track is still damp and rain plus coming in over the next 10 minutes. So we'll check in right around the halfway point, and there goes the 537, and that'll be Andre Lloyd, the 937, excuse me. And he is a back marker on circuit because he has already taken his pit stop. And the 999 leads the number 23 right now. And just to comment on what you said earlier, Mike Nause, we called that quitting sim racing for a few days. And I can't tell you how many times I've quit sim racing only to be drawn back in a few days' time and have the right mindset that you're talking about. And me and my friends, we'd exercise that all the time where, you know, I'm just going to take a week off, and then it turns into a few days or a few hours, and you come back and you just decide that you're just here to have fun and hang out with the boys again.
Exactly. That's really what it's all about, is hanging out with the friends, the folks that you've met along the way, and learning. Like I say, this is not an easy sport that we're doing here. Driving a race car at 100% is very difficult, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but it's so rewarding. That's the only but that I guess there is. Other than that, get your butt in the racing seat and have some fun. No, it's all that aside. Like I say, it's about the right mindset. But Jonathan Clifford here, he is currently locked in on his mindset with the car ahead. Chandler Williams, his teammate, Thiago Dinarte from the 12 Hours of Bathurst, just up the road a little bit in a fight with Quinn Smith. We saw that, but Thiago still trying to manage the damage. He's still keeping that gap 0.8 of a second, quite solid. Clifford, though, I think it's a matter of time here before he does get the move done. He seems like he wants to get by, but these wet weather conditions, you got to be so careful where you place your car.
100%, and getting really close is the 99 to Chandler Williams, 17 out in front, the Ford Mustang getting the acceleration done and dusted very well. It's one of the things that the Ford Mustang GT3 is good at, strong acceleration and top speed, pulling out from that Ferrari behind and doing a great job of driving this one forward. Of course, we saw how strong the Ford Mustang is with the winners at the 24 Hours of Daytona. And sorry if that was too many spoilers.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Hopefully, cover your ears in the past if you were, but it's already happened, so just Google the results, folks. Either way, Stephen Buckley, hello, my Pac PNW friend, does TRACKILICIOUS always race in the rain? I will say, though, it has not been raining recently. It has been sunny as heck, and the snow level is super, super high right now, which is lame, because I want to go hiking in the snow, and there's no snow to be found right now. Which is disappointing for me. Woe is me. Oh no, I don't get to go hike in the snow. I just get to go hike in the dry. So sad. But no, either way, we have had a bit of rain in the TRACKILICIOUS servers recently. I love it. As a PNW native, I absolutely love wet weather conditions. I grew up racing in the wet, so I think that it is the great equalizer, and some drivers, they are just better in these conditions than in the dry. It allows some to shine.
True that. If you can live in the slide, you can drive anything, anywhere, at any time, folks. If you're fast in damp conditions or in greasy conditions, you're probably fast in overall conditions as well when you have the maximum amount of grip underneath you. And such as Jonathan Clifford chasing down Chandler Williams, half a second the gap right now. It's been slinking back and forth between about 0.3 of a second and 0.8 of a second. There it is, opening and closing one more time. The Ferrari trying to put in the work, but getting a little wiggle here and there behind Chandler Williams, coming through what looks like that would be Worth, and on through right and the Red Bull Mobile next corners to come at us.
One thing here that we should mention, the elephant sitting on the top of Chandler Williams' head, is that 10-second penalty. That is going to affect him by 10 seconds. So Jonathan Clifford will be gaining the position regardless, unless he has a stop-go 30 penalty. That would be even worse. But Chandler here will have to serve that. That was picked up from a previous race, by the way. People wondering where that came from. That was because he was a little naughty and the stewards deemed him worthy of a 10-second penalty from something that he did last week. Now, though, out onto circuit, he has to serve that at his pit stop, where he'll have to remain stationary for 10 seconds before the auto jacks are allowed to pick him up, and then he can get back on his merry way like nothing ever happened. And assuming you don't pick up a penalty in this race, then you will be all good to go for the next week.
And there is lap traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away. Just one more time, Chandler Williams getting under threat from the 99 of Clifford, the big red dog from behind. And that Ferrari may not be big, bright, and red like Chandler Williams or Andre Alex Alfonso's car, but it is getting big and bright in behind the number 17's eyes, and almost gets the nose chopped off by Alfonso. But now the gap opens up to a little bit more than that. Timothy Jedubal and Jace Wright are in a battle for 9th and 10th with about the exact same gap right now, just a few car lengths away from the battle that we're looking at right now.
One thing here I am very curious about is tire compound choice and exactly who is making what decision. So if we take a look here, Eduardo Gabinski, who was running in second position, has gone for a pit stop. This is the driver we're going to be keeping an eye on for lap times. He will be the decision maker for all of our leaders. Yair Hutchinson will be hoping that he has a race engineer telling him his lap times, because Eduardo Gabinski has gambled for the wets, and this could pay massive dividends. Timothy Jedubal, still on dry tires, has to make a move to the racing line here. This should be the favorable way to make an overtake, but even in these conditions, you just cannot go wide. You go out onto those curbs and you aren't too cautious with your throttle, then you will be finding yourself facing the wrong way. The inside, though, for Timothy Jedubal this time around, but the Lamborghini looks like he got shot out of that corner like a cannon, so I don't expect a challenge. Unless Timothy Jedubal misses the corner. That is the only way that he would go alongside, which, there we go.
Mike Nause, the prophet, he is the predictor, and he called it as he saw it, and it looks like that was an easy move back for Jace Wright to get past Timothy Jedubal in the easiest amount of time. And who is that lurking in the background? Is that Chronotis, the number 42? Oh, but he is a back marker right now, the number 21. Okay. That makes more sense. I was wondering how Chronotis had caught up so quickly. Jonathan Clifford back to that battle between the 6 and 7. Ooh, Thiago Dinarte, 3/10 back from Quinn Smith right now. And is that on pace alone? I think so.
Yeah, I don't think he's really intent on making a move, though. He knows his damage is not great, and I think he's just using Quinn Smith right now as a crutch, which... hey, I think this is absolutely the correct strategy for Thiago. He's gaining mass. So the problem right now is that he has straight line speed issues. His car, the Ford Mustang, which is typically a rocket ship in a straight line, once he pulls out of this slipstream, he has that damage on the front end, which means he goes slow as heck. But if you just so happen to have a car that's fast in a straight line ahead of you that can punch a big hole in the air for you and make it so you can go quicker in a straight line, why not, Thiago? I think this is an absolute brilliant play, and long term is going to recover him pretty much as he can, considering that damage is, like I say, not really affecting him at this point. We also had a follow here from William McIlroy, and also chatting in the chat for the first time. Chatter, welcome, William. Hope you're having a lovely morning, as it sounds, as you mentioned. Probably over there, not in the UK. Where the heck are you? It's morning? Oh, where is morning right now? Australia?
Australia would be 3 p.m.-ish right now.
Where is morning?
No.
Like, are you in the ocean or Asian region? Can't speak. I'm curious, where is it morning at right now? It's very late
East
at night.
European?
It could be, yeah. Let's find out, hopefully. Hopefully our new friend can tell us. Timothy Jadu Ball, still in the mix right now with Jace Wright. Lap times, though, this is what I wanted to check on for our wet weather drivers. Currently, Galbinski, 133.0. Renato Dornales, 133.9. So we're kind of at that crossover point. Galbinski is quicker than everyone. Now's the time to switch to wets, but let's look at the prediction. It's going to dry up. So do you switch to wets? Do you just go to a new set of dries and hope? There's a couple issues with that, Saagar. One of those being, of course, the fact that when you put a new set of boots on, while yes, you have tire warmers, the track is not going to be at the optimum temperature, so you might have to overinflate them and then dry up. What would you do in this situation?
I'm not sure. This is why I'm not a racing driver still. I'm just a sprint racer at best right now. I think now is the time to decide if you want to go onto wet weather tires, but that's only due to temperatures and the pace that you're showing on your dry tires, because obviously you would have set your tire pressures and temperatures based on dry conditions, not under wet conditions. So now's the time where the heat must have dissipated off, and then going to a fresh set of wet tires to carry you for the last half of the race may be the best solution out there.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't know either. So we'll see. I'm curious. Chat, what would you guys do? Let us know. And apparently, William here, our South African friend, well, Molo, welcome. Hope you're having a lovely morning here, and hope the Trackalicious stream is a great start to the day. You're going to watch a little bit of GT3 virtual racing here in Spielberg, Austria, which we haven't done any fun facts about now that I've just just realized that. So guess what, folks? It's fun fact time. You get this one for free. And Saagar, do you happen to know how many bird species are in the area of the Red Bull Ring?
More than 13.
Correct. You are, in fact, correct. There's about 200 to 200 species of various birds, and overall, you might encounter as well up to 50 to 70 different tree species. We're in the mountains here. We're in the Alps. There's so many little bushes and cool spots for birds to hang out in. So if you are a motorsport fan and somebody who is very fond of aviafauna, the Red Bull Ring is a great choice, and it has some just beautiful mountains. I was actually just talking with someone who lives in Austria, and they were showing me pictures of their backyard, and I am very jealous because I want to go and climb the mountains in the region.
Help Mike Nause get to Austria, folks. Donate down below in the comment sections of the YouTube channel, and it looks like Timothy Jadu Ball is actually making a move on Jace Wright, though. And no, as I say that the leader's name Pitts, yes, they have Pitt as well. But we're looking at this battle right now between Jace Wright, Jadu Ball, and that's not Matt Artem. That's Professor Chronotis lurking in the background, 2/10 off the grid, trying to unlap himself right now.
And try he will. Will he? Oh.
Ooh, dip, dive, and dodge out of the way. Yes, he will, Mike Nause.
I was going to say, will he pit, or will one of these drivers pit? And the answer to that was yes. Jace Wright is in. So one driver goes for the pit stop. This, though, should be the elephant in the room. Like this, I don't know why Timothy didn't go into pit lane. When you're getting okay, let's back up here for a second. When somebody who is on a different lap as you and on a previous lap as you is going quicker than you on a different compound of tires, it might be time to switch over to those tires.
It might just have been because he had that slip and slide moment coming through that final corner.
No, I think you're right.
That's what happened.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong because Chrono's on freaking dries. What? Yeah. Well, it didn't work out for him in that corner, unfortunately, but he is on dries in the Honda Logs and Garden. What a team name.
And he's got some injuries to that bonnet of his. So that can't be too healthy for Chronotis right now. Here's Eric Akasian trying to chop it up and find his way back through the pack. And as we say that, here's Jade Hutchinson, who has taken a pit stop 17.4 seconds stationary, so obviously deciding to not take tires and keeping on the dry setup that he has and driving this one forward. Fastest lap of the race was a 32.5, and 32.8 being the new fastest of this stint now, and that'll be the fastest lap of the race even. And Jade Hutchinson doing a great job of keeping this one underneath him and between the red and white stripes.
This is a brilliant strategy. So I was talking earlier, right, how the rain's going to decrease. So in my monkey brain mindset, I figured that there was a mandatory tire change, but no, there isn't. You don't need to change tires. This is the strategy that I couldn't think of. This is the way to go. Yes, stay on dry tires, and now, yes, going through pit lane makes it so your tires lose temperature, but it's not going to be as much as a fresh set. So this keeps the balance. He knows these tires like the back of his hand at this point. He's driven on them for about 35 minutes, no, 51 minutes. Holy smokes, this race has gone by quick. And so that is going to be, I think, the best strategy, and a lot of people agreeing with him as well. Jonathan Clifford is one of those drivers who went in, didn't take a new set. Jace Wright, as well as Jaid. We have, those are the three drivers so far that have done it, but I think that's the way to go.
Well, if Jaid ended up picking out that strategy, then it's got to be the right one, because most likely he will re-inherit the lead of this one, because separating himself and Renato Dornelis right now out in P1 is only about maybe 15 seconds. That's bound to close down any time now as he catches up to Michael Formato, who's about a second a lap slower than Jaid out in front.
I think McDonald needs to pull it in here. I think he made the wrong call. Any driver that's gone onto wets right now is going to need to count their losses while they still can. Right now, he's losing time. He just got overtaken by Kenneth Portis II, who is on dry tires, and it's raining. Like I say, sure, we are talking slightly different pace differential. Kenneth is quite quick. His fastest lap overall is a 1:33.0 compared to the 1:34.0 of Harold McDonald. So we'll keep that in mind. He was a second a lap quicker, and he is a second a lap on average quicker. Maybe the difference isn't as big as I'm making it out to be, but it will be very soon. The rain is not going to be coming anytime soon. It's only going to be going away, and these large hoovers are going to be moving that water to the side of the track, and eventually those wet weather tires are going to turn into balloons.
Yeah, they sure will, and that'll be unfortunate for them. Those wet weather tires not being the best tire choice that I predicted would be the best tire choice. And it looks like Vadik Ostitiev is on the wet compound while Jace Wright is on the dry compound tire, and Vadik even looking for puddles on the racing surface to try to cool down his tires with.
And you can see how much time that causes him to lose here. He can't stay in the slipstream of Jace Wright. Flashing the headlights to recognize he's on stream. I like that. But Vadik here, he is, yeah, like I say, hunting for those puddles right now and just trying to, his teammate right now, Jace Wright, is the only thing that would be keeping him alive, but he's not getting a slipstream. Oh no, speaking of keeping somebody alive, Eric and Harold, okay, I think everyone should be able to avoid this. What has happened here? So this is Eric Gakosian, okay camera, going for a dive bomb into the final corner. He's not quite lined it up. Everything's good. Oh no, that is a unfortunate incident if I've ever seen it. No one's at fault for this one. That's a racing incident.
Yeah,
Oof.
really unfortunate incident to be clear.
That's some radiator damage.
Number 5, there is some radiator damage between the 182 and the number 5. That is for sure. Between the Trackalicious Bath Hertz car, and that car is hurting. The number 5 will have to come into pit lane again from 19th position and get more of that damage repair. Jace Wright and Vadik Ostitiev still battling it out. Looks like Chandler Williams got hustle Kenneth Portis II there, as Chandler was able to get past, but Vadik and Jace Wright still separated by just about nothing on the racing circuit on completely different tire strategies.
I hate this from Vadik. Vadik needs to count his losses, as I mentioned. Like, it's not working out, brother. If you're hunting in the gravel for water, your tires must be suffering, and yeah, I don't think I need to be the man here that's pointing out the obvious. Those marbles aren't going to help you brake when you go into the braking zone. They're only going to make it more difficult. Speaking of more difficult, Eric is struggling to make it back to pit lane. He couldn't pit because the crash happened after pit entrance. And on top of that, we had Miss Trackalicious in chat, Eric's wife, Lisa, to witness the calamity unfold. If there was ever a time to get his contractually obligated screen time out of the way, that was not the time, Saagar.
No, truly, it was not the right time with Mrs. Trackalicious watching and waiting in the wings to see what happened to her beloved. But yes, Eric, the boss Kakassian, coming down to pit lane now to get that mandatory service that he'll need to get back up and rolling again. Vadik still chasing down his teammate of Jace right out in front. Lap times are almost identical. Vadik's about 0.2 faster that previous lap around. That doesn't mean that he's able to still pass Jace right, nor will still have the pace with 23 minutes left to go.
So one gap here that I've been keeping a very close eye on is the lap times, not necessarily gap, but the lap times between Eduardo Galbinski and Renato Dornales. Those are the two that are going to be fighting for the lead when Renato does eventually come into pit lane. But he doesn't seem like he has any intent right now because he doesn't need to. As we have seen from the previous strategies, Eduardo Galbinski did not take... No, Eduardo did take tires. Oh, interesting. So Eduardo did take tires, and it hasn't helped him at all, to be completely honest. In fact, I think we checked earlier, he's on wets. Yeah, he is on wets. So this is going to be, I think, a bit of a diminishing returns on your strategy, and he might have to... I don't think the battle for the lead's on for him at this point.
I think Renato Dornelles will inherit the lead of the race. I think he's picked out the right strategy to be on. He saw that his opponent, Jade Hutchinson, has decided to go for that splash and dash. And I have a feeling like Renato probably has gone for a full fuel load as well. So he'll go for a really short splash and dash at the end of this race. And with 22.5 minutes remaining, I think it's only about time before he comes into the pits.
Yeah, let me clarify. My apologies. I said leading the race. Jade Hutchinson did slip my mind. He has just been in no man's land for so long that I forgot about him. So yes, Jade Hutchinson will be leading this race, but P2 will be inherited by Renato Dornales because Eduardo Galbinski took tires in his pit stop and Renato won't. It's as simple as that. That'll save him a solid 15 seconds on track, and the lap times are identical. So it's not going to change. Jade Hutchinson still fastest out on track. Nobody is going to catch him. Is Renato, though, here going to have to hand a position over to Jakob Stavko down to the inside. Stavko, what tires is he on? I think I see a Pirelli P0, and I see Vadik Odstitsia facing the wrong way. That is less than ideal. Renato. Yeah, unfortunate for Vadik. But Renato here fighting it back with Jakob Stavko. I'm not too sure what we're watching, but it has been settled. I felt like we were watching Daytona qualifying there for a moment. He is on dry.
Stavko is on a fresh set of Pirelli P0 dry tires. You're absolutely right. The MA70 Esports car with a 32.2 second stationary. He is getting ahead of the car, Renato Dornelles, and it doesn't look like he's that much faster in a straight line. The lap times being the last time around 33.4 to a 33.35. So really a tenth here or there isn't really much to want to overtake another car by. But now it looks like the gap has opened up to around maybe 0.7 of a second, nearly a second at this point in time.
Yeah, I think the new tires are clearly showing that they're the grippier of the bunch, and I would imagine that's due to the fact that Jakob here put quite a bit of pressure into those tires, so able to account here for the conditions, basically. He's got more trim setup for the conditions, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. And so Renato right now, he's just currently in survival mode with his old tires in these wet conditions. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the conditions. It's damp, so it's not even wet anymore. It's a damp track, and it is going to be diminishing rain. And as William here in chat, yeah, marbles for Vadik Odstitsia. So that hunting that we saw, the puddle hunting, definitely cost him. He ended up going under the Oof, and it looks like it's cost him again with an RTG. Vadik, not how I wanted it to end the night. Like I said, he just should have went into pit lane a little earlier. I think a lot of the drivers on the wet tires are starting to realize this, where they're like, uh-oh, I just looked at the clock. We have 20 minutes left, and my tires are currently at maximum pressure right now, around like 40 degrees, and that's not quite what you want.
Yeah, that's really not what the drivers are looking for. Perhaps if the track was going to evolve from damp to wet conditions, it would have been worthwhile, but with these temperatures, the track is basically evaporating all the water on the circuit, and Vadik says in chat he hit the dang sausage at T1, and that's what caused him to spin out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, that's really the only way to put it. One of the biggest issues with this track when it comes to tire wear, especially on your wet weather tires in the dry conditions, we talked about it very briefly at the start of the broadcast, but the fact that this is a 10-corner circuit with 3 to the left and 7 to the right. So your left-hand tires are going to be screaming at a certain point, and I'm sure Vadik literally jumped. Oh man, I wish we went back and caught that on the replay. Vadik, what was your tire pressure when you ended up coming back to the garage, if you do remember? I'd love to know. Also, Aki Angelo, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the team here at TRACKILICIOUS.
And the 11. There goes Jacob Stofko with a big send up on Jace Wright coming in through turn 3. It looks like there, yep, it is Stofko still trying to stuff it up the inside of Jace right now. Number 34 MA70 esports car has been working his way forward. Now he got past Renato Dornelis. Now the next car up the road is the 463 of Jace Wright next.
Renato is not going to be happy to see this, because this is about to become a real issue for him. Jakob Stofko, to the left, to the right, to the left again. He's trying to do the electric slide. What is that song called?
The Electric Boogaloo Part 2?
No, not that either way. Chat knows what I'm talking about. To the left, to the left, to the right. Anyway, moving on. Jakob Stofko, trying to make moves, but currently Jace Wright is not letting him. To the inside of the final corner, I wouldn't do that if I were you, but Jakob Stofko isn't me, so he's going to commit down to the inside, and Jace Wright pretty much has to say, okay, go, or else we're going to crash. So Jakob taking advantage of the situation there, enforcing the issue. Fair enough, it was a clean overtake, it was a good move, and it was done, but or is it Jace Wright trying to allow Renato by is what this looks like? And oh no, the outside paint there, so slippery. And he manages to catch the car, flash of the headlights to remind us that he needs to change his racing trousers after.
And Vadik Asitiev reaffirming that the strategy was to stay on dry. I set my wets to 24 PSI and instantly climbed to 33 PSI within 3 laps. And that's exactly what you called out, right, Mike?
I was exaggerating slightly. I didn't know what the max temperature is. It's been a while since I've drove, so I threw a number out there and hoped that it stuck on the wall, but yeah. Also, the cha-cha slide, says Miss Treklish. That is what I'm talking about, yes. Cha-cha real smooth.
I'm going to pretend like we didn't have this conversation as Professor Cronotis traces down Andre Alex Alfonso in the 666 out in front. The battle between them is for 17th and 18th position, and Alex Alfonso going a bit faster that previous lap, 137.1 to a 137.2.
Yeah, and actually you just took the words right out of my mouth there. I'm trying to take a look at Chrono. He's up 7 positions from where he started, and he's kind of the man on a mission right now. Very much faster than pretty much everyone around him, I think, overall. His overall lap, his fastest lap, is an entire, not second quicker. No, it is, and it's over a second quicker, actually, than Andre Alex Alfonso. Here we go, down to the inside. He's going to not get this done, I don't think, because as we go into Roush, he'll have the offline, and Andre is just going to give it to him. All right, what a nice guy. That was unnecessary from Alfonso, but he just said, all right, whatever. Here quicker, you go.
And with that, Jonathan Clifford, the big red dog, is able to get through in the number 99 Ferrari past Alex Alfonso as well that time around, and pretty good.
This is amazing.
And thank you very much to Vadik for the $5 dono. it was a good race while it lasted. I will say, Fatigue. It was, like I say, you just made the wrong call, put the wrong tires on at the wrong time, and suffered. You're not the only one tonight that's done so. There's been plenty of victims. There is Jonathan Clifford getting by Professor Chronotis. No position gained, just for the back marker pride here and just to move up the field a little bit more. Harold McDonald and Anthony Kelly have found each other once more. This was a gap that Harold McDonald was ahead come the beginning of this race. Then Anthony Kelly was about, what, 8 seconds, 9 seconds ahead at one point. And now, the gap back down to 0. I made the comment that the team orders, I wasn't sure if they had worked yet because they need to make ground up before I say that it did. It didn't work.
And it looks like both drivers are actually on the wet compound tires, lapping at around 135s a piece right now. And I could be mistaken, Mike Nause, but I believe I don't see any Pirelli Zero banners that are yellow on those tires. I just see them all black. So the driver is obviously succumbing to the heat generation that's been plaguing a lot of drivers. And the track has officially gone greasy now. So it's gone damp to greasy. So all the wet weather runners are definitely going to be screaming in pain now.
And, I mean, to be fair, it is the point of no return. Like, you can't just come into pit lane. You're not going to make up enough time. You're not going to make up a minute traveling through pit lane to get a new set of tires at this stage. And they're so desperate. Anthony Kelly, that was not a mistake from Anthony Kelly. That is Anthony trying to hunt for grass and cool his tires down. No, this is not iRacing, Anthony Kelly. That bug doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work that well on ACC either. And now we're going to see, I think that's Thiago Dinarte. Yeah, it is. In the top left, you can see getting by and damage not playing any issue, considering the fact that he just has way more grip in the mid corner.
Thiago Dinarte lapping at 133.615. That'll be his best and last lap. And he's only pulled off an 11-second pit stop so far. Renato Dornelis into the pits now. We'll keep an eye on his pit stop, but presumably Jade Hutchinson will inherit the lead of this race, and Michael Farmato will inherit second place, although Formato has not taken a pit stop yet.
I don't think Formato will take, or yes, sure, you're right in that factor, but even with that, I'm honestly not sure. Renato might just come out in time. Oh, Formato does decide to come in now. So Renato will be taking second position as Thiago Dinarte is not quite to the final corner yet, and Renato is not going to be taking new tires. Although, yeah, okay, he's got moving. I was going to say, he hasn't got moving yet. No, he has got moving. Did not take tires. Nice little splash and dash, and he will be all good to the end. Jade Hutchinson takes the lead of this race by a good margin, and now we see a little fighting from Quinn Smith and Eduardo Galbinski. Well, that battle quickly over, considering Eduardo here is still suffering. He's also one of the drivers that made the early call to switch over to the wet weather Pirellis, but now he is certainly regretting that decision. Also, I just wanted to welcome Jorge Yorch in chat. Jorge Yorch Garage, welcome on the YouTube chats.
And welcome to Yuki Tsunoda is the GOAT. Yuki World Champ 2025. We'll see about that. We will see about that.
We will, in fact, see about that. Also, a fun fact, Redemption. This track initially started off as an airbase. Shocker. It was the Ziltvig airfield, which hosted races back in 1964 and 1970 for Formula One. However, the surface was deemed unsuitable, and they decided to instead then build the Austria Ring, which lasted from 1970 till about 1995, until financial issues and other stuff, and then the A1 ring was born from 1996 to 2003, and then financial stuff plagued it, and then they had a new owner in Red Bull in 2004, and back then a Austrian billionaire, Dietrich Mateschitz, the co-founder of Red Bull, did buy this track and modernize it, which reopened back in 2011.
And a quick update for the battle between 10th and 11th. Jacob Stofko was able to get around Matt Artem there during the battle on track. It looks like Jacob Stofko, still with those fresh tires, able to optimize them a little bit better than the rest of the drivers that have stayed on the same set from the beginning. Matt Artem not taking a new set of tires during his pit stop, 10.3 seconds stationary, but he's only lapping at around 135s right now. Could potentially get caught up to by Jace Wright in the number 24.
Yeah, battles on track here. I don't want to say we've seen all the battles at this point, but right now I think this is a lot of drivers just trying to stay alive. So if a battle does happen, the only real ones that I could see coming to fruition is this Kronotis and McDonald battle. Potentially, Jakob Stofko can catch Timothy Jadu-Ball. He is quicker, but it is one thing to catch. It's another thing to overtake. But Timothy here, is he on those wets? Now he's on dries, so it will be, this will actually become a battle here pretty quickly, and we'll see if Jakob in the MA70 has the pace and the muster to get by in these conditions. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Yeah, that's really all I have to say on that. And Vadik making a comment on the name, it might be Houston. That could be. That could be. I still think that Saagar is right, and that might be a fake name.
Potentially. But there is a battle between 15th, 16th, and 17th as Anthony Kelly, Harold McDonald, Professor Kronotis are all very close to each other on the racing circuit. Gap slinking down to around 3/10 of a corner through the penultimate corner. And now Harold McDonald looking to the inside line. Kronotis following suit to get the slipstream, headed down the start-finish straightaway. And now Harold McDonald on the defensive action right now, trying to cover off a little bit of Professor Kronotis' charge in the number 42 Honda Logs and Garden Machine to keep his teammate out in front of Anthony Kelly, the number 7 car.
I'm not convinced this is Harold McDonald defending. I'm more convinced this is Harold McDonald hunting for puddles. He is defending. That's also what's happening. Oops, a little bit of a switchback gone wrong there for Chrono. He carried a bit too much speed through the mid-corner and, well, ended up giving Harold a bit of a tap there, which I'm honestly surprised didn't unsettle the car more than it did. These cars are on the limit of grip right now, and McDonald covers the inside or hunts for puddles, or both, more than likely. It allows Anthony Kelly to walk away a bit. Chrono is much quicker. He's on dry tires, and he even could make the overtake work on the outside, I think. He's going to try through the mid-sectors, and look at the traction difference. A bit of a slip and slide from both drivers, though. Chrono got caught out there through Roush, down through Verth. Oh, it's a tank slapper for McDonald. He collects Chrono, gets a tap from Quinn. And that, I don't want to say the writing was on the walls from the initial entry of that battle, but I definitely expected something to happen of that nature.
Ouch. And Xander Zone 85 asks, is the track still damp? No, the track has actually gone greasy and has been that way for quite some time now. And the drivers on wet tires are screaming in pain, and the drivers that are on fresh new rubber have optimized their pressure, such as Jacob Stofko right now and Eduardo Galbinski managing it pretty well, and Quinn Smith as well in that number 999 in 5th place.
This is a battle I didn't expect, but I also don't expect it to last long, considering that Kenneth Portis II was 4 seconds quicker on the previous lap than Jace Wright. Jace is more than likely going to let this one go. Not into the final corner, though, but down through the penultimate corner complex and into the final corner. Now, I think Kenneth is trying to set this up for the long straight. All he needs to do is get the better exit. Jace Wright here, he's on dries, actually. Okay, so it's not actually going to be as cut and dry as I thought. No pun intended. This is still, though, a tremendous amount of pace difference, and Jace Wright got it together that time, 134.4, but compared to the 133.0, this is a matter of when, not if. And Kenneth here, you can even see every single exit. He's gaining tremendous amounts of speed. Has to commit, though, to the outside line. It's going to be a long way around at the apex. Let's see if he can get it done. It's a bit of a lazy exit there for the Lamborghini. That's going to give advantage to the Honda, but the inside line still in the grips of Jace. He can send it deep here through Schlossgold, and that would potentially send Kenneth into the gravel trap. We've seen it before with Max Verstappen, with Lewis Hamilton and Alex Albon. We've seen it with Lando Norris. You mentioned that one as well, but no, not this time. Kenneth Portis II just has the better grip, has more pace all the way around, gets the accelerator down, and takes the position.
Good fighting between Kenneth Portis II and Jace Wright to keep it clean. coming in through turn 4 and making sure that no one got sent off into the kitty litter. Here's Alex Hansen and Andre Lloyd battling it out coming in towards turn 3 now. It looks like Alex Hansen has the inside line, able to cover off the Lamborghini from behind and parks it on the apex. 937 has nowhere to go but follow in a single file line, and there goes Alex Hansen driving this one forward. Next car up the road will be Professor Canotis, 2.9 up the road, but he is on a lead lap, separated these guys by quite some bit. Eric Kakasian 2.1 away from Alex Hansen right now.
Yeah, and battle's pretty much done here for Alex. He's made up the ground. Andre Lloyd will stay with him, but that looks like the front end of the Lamborghini is not quite how the aerodynamicists had drawn it up. Therefore, I think that's going to be affecting him as this race goes on. Chrono will be trying to battle here with Anthony Kelly. He's caught back up. That gap closed down rapidly after he got by Harold McDonald, and I suspect a similar recreation. In fact, this might just be deja vu. Chrono getting PTSD flashbacks, and Anthony Kelly says, okay, whatever, just go. I am trying to live right now. Anthony Kelly has no grip, and the littlest tap could send that car careening into a barrier quicker than a quick thing in Quicksville. So definitely, Anthony here, smart decision. Just let Chrono go. Worry about it on another day, because this is not Anthony's day for battles. Alex Hansen will get by as well, but he's on a different lap, like you mentioned, Saagar. And Jonathan Clifford and Tiago Denarte is kind of the only battle that I could see happening, but with his 2.5 second gap, I don't expect it to, I just don't expect it to come to fruition. It could, but we'll see.
Absolutely. And looks like all things are quiet on the western front, or should I say the eastern front now, with 3 minutes left to go. And the number 24 of Jace Wright is parked it into the grass at, where is he coming in?
Penultimate corner complex.
Penultimate corner. Yeah, you're right. And he is trying to recover that car back into 13th place, but he's got Lustin Eiston about 3.1 away from him right now. And there's the replay of what happened to Jace Wright, and he just tumbled and found the banana peel on the racing line and just slip and slid his way off in almost into the barriers.
Yeah, the curbs are not your friend right now, Jace, as much as I hate to say it, and the Lamborghini has enough torque to tenderize an elephant on a good day. Nevertheless, in these conditions, you're going to be getting wheel spin left and right. We have a fun fact redemption from a name that I don't recognize in chat. No, I do recognize that name. My apologies. Welcome. Well, I'm running low on fun facts because honestly, this track doesn't have the most. Do we have any AMGs on circuit? Let's take a look here before we get into this. No. Wow, not a single AMG GT3 on track. That is unlucky. Well, good thing my fun fact revolves around that car. In case you were curious, Saagar, do you happen to know how many AMG GT3s this track is long?
More than 100.
It is more than 100. You are correct. In fact, 9 times that plus 39 is 939 AMGs could fit bumper to bumper to line up to fill this 2.6 mile or 4.3 kilometer circuit. Oh, I didn't get the onboard.
39?
I didn't get the onboard. Let's do the onboard now. We can do that. Jace Wright, let's go onboard. My apologies. Not your donkeys. I knew that. Yeah. To be honest, if you do watch the Williams streams, you might have heard that before. That's one that I often like to tote around on there, considering that AMG is their brand partner. So, you know, got to have a little loyalty somewhere. I'll just do a half lap, yeah, buddy. Chandler Williams and Eduardo Galbinski. Whoa, this has come together. Eduardo Galbinski has had a terrible strategy call, unfortunately, and Chandler Williams now getting by.
I'm super surprised Renato Dornelis did not have the greatest start of this race. He started all the way down in third place. All the way down. He started off in third place and ended up making that position work, getting past Thiago Denarte and Eduardo Galbinski through the pit stop cycle.
Oh, Jade Hutchinson, folks, takes the checkered flag, crosses the line, the number 26. Pretty much made it look easy, unanswered throughout the entirety of this race. Renato Donales coming home in second, and Thiago Dinarte in third. Eduardo Gabinski just lost another position to Jakob Stavko. It's been a terrible day, unfortunately. Eduardo Gabinski just not making the right strategic calls. But all the way around, Saagar, what an incredible race.
Truly is, as I was saying. Yeah, Renato Dornelis ended up making that position up through the pit stop cycle. Thiago Dinarte able to start in second and work his way down into third after getting a punt in the rumpus. And Jonathan Clifford in fourth place, Quinn Smith in fifth, Michael Formato in sixth. This won't affect anybody in the standings, I don't think, except for give Thiago Dinarte a little bit more points than he necessarily had before. His best finish being a fifth, now his best finish will be a third place.
Eric almost had a bit of a drag race to the line. Looks like not enough, though. And he will be finishing down in P, second to last. With the wife watching, not the result he was looking for.
Probably has her hands on her hips and say, why do you even race this stuff, then?
I certainly hope not. It definitely, though, is not a redeeming quality. If you're, hey, honey, so how'd you do in your, yeah, I finished P, second to last. It's not something that, you know, I think the wife is going to be too thrilled with you spending your Sunday evening doing rather than with her. But hey, you know, Eric, it's just Eric things. Love you, Lisa. No, as we have it, though, let's go back to the booth, folks, and talk a little bit about this race. As we come back here into the booth and we get out of the server before my game crashes. And we have some potential interviews here. We're waiting for anyone to go into the green room. Although, Saagar, are we going to see any of these drivers go into the green room? Maybe Renato.
I have not seen any of the drivers come into the green room yet for this championship. Like you said, maybe Renato Dornelis, but no one else has come in yet.
In that case, we'll give him a minute or two here, and if nobody shows, then we'll just get the show on the road. But thank you guys very much. A big welcome to everyone that's joined us. We had a lot of new followers here tonight. We had a lot of new followers yesterday as well. I think 26 followers throughout the 12 hours. So you guys really hitting that goal and smashing the door wide open. In fact, I forgot to set a new one, I think, unless it auto-updated, which it might have. The new goal is 2,600, yes, but we did hit 2,500 followers yesterday, so we thank you guys very much for that. It means an absolute ton. But the Proto Pavement race, absolutely showing itself to be a true nail-biter of a championship. Jade Hutchinson, though, this is his hat trick of victories. Renato Dornelis, this is his hat trick of second places. What do you make of that?
Yeah, always the bridesmaid, never quite the bride. Renato Dornelis has the pace to challenge Jade Hutchinson lap after lap, but unfortunately has been unable to actually clinch first place. Of course, with drop rounds being a thing in this championship as well, Renato Dornelis still has a chance mathematically to catch back up. He's only 3 points back, and that's how the points will continue to stand as we go into round 4. Or they're just about. I think it'll open up to 6 actually due to scoring. But yeah, still great finishes for Jade Hutchinson and Renato Dornelis. Amazing finishes. Antoine Landry will be tied with Thiago Dinarte, if I'm not mistaken, as far as points are concerned, into third place.
We might as well at this point just call him Mark Anthony. I think at this point he has earned it. No, either way, folks, I'm not seeing anyone popping into the green room here, so I think we are going to call it for the night. We'll be back tomorrow for the rookies, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not too sure, but we'll be back soon enough. Do keep an eye out. With that being said, though, folks, we are going to be rating. We're going to be rating Formula Artemis. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure who they are, but they're doing some iRacing, so go and check them out. And, yeah, on that, I hope everyone has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Thank you, fine folks. We'll see you soon, and good night.